Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with yet another crafting video. There's going to be a lot of these coming out in 3.13 when Harvest is going core, but for now we're going to make sure we get as much information across the board as possible to the community so that you know the basics of crafting. So when 3.13 comes in, then I'll be focusing a lot on these crafting videos. You'll have all the information you need. Today, I wanted to make a video on something that I've been asked to do for quite some time now. Not sure how profitable the market is. I haven't actually bothered looking at it, so I just decided to say, hey, we're just gonna craft the item. And that is a Blade Vortex helmet. Let's try that one more time. I'm gonna craft a Blade Vortex helmet. There we go. Whew, that was hard to say. So the first thing you do when you decide to do such a craft is obviously you check PoEDB mods, and you also, if you're looking for profit, want to check the kind of helmet, or for usage for that matter. You want to check PoE Ninja, and in my case we're going to search for Blade Vortex, and I know for a fact that these are the top DPS versions of Blade Vortex, so I click DPS. Now we can see that all of these have fire damage, so I'm just going to take a couple of these, and then we check what kind of helmet these guys are using. So in this case they have Blade Vortex Duration, they have a Redeemer Warlord, they have maximum power charge, and they have skill supported by Unleash, and this one has power charge on kill. So checking the next helmet, it's Global Crit Multi, which is a Warlord modifier, maximum power charge, and Unleash. So now I know that the Unleash and power charge are the two that are similar to those two. Checking the next one, I can verify that yes, indeed, the power charge and Unleash are the two main things that we're going to be looking for, and obviously if you get the crit multi-roll on it, it would be absolutely amazing. Next helmet, it's the same thing, power charge, Unleash, and then there's crit multi in this one, power charge, Unleash, and then multi-crafted for more resistance with a decent life roll. However, this one has Blade Vortex have critical strike multiplier for each blade instead of using the duration. And same thing here, but again this one has Unleash and maximum power charge. So now that I know that the kind of helmet I'm going to look for seems to be at least an energy shield type of base, could be a hybrid. In my case I went with a Harlequin because it was cheaper, and I bought it for like 80k, right, 90c actually. So now that I know that we want an ES base probably for the colors, since these builds weren't really using the energy shield as a defensive stat, it's most likely just for the colors. I want to check the helmet, and we have a intelligence evasion base. So then I go to intelligence dexterity, or dexterity intelligence, and we're looking for Unleash. That I now know that we would need a Redeemer of item level 80 or higher. We also want power charge to the maximum count, which is a Warlord requiring 75. So these are pretty low compared to most endgame type of craft. So then I want to check the resistances, which would be 84 for tier 1 res. Life is only 64, and some of the other modifiers such as the crit multiplier, there it is, 75. Again, it's perfectly chill. So I can in this case probably go for 85 for the off chance of getting nearby enemies that fire us, or if I just ignore that because the odds of hitting that is very low, I can buy it cheaper and just look for something that has like 80 or higher item level. So what I did is, I purchased a Harlequin mask with the enchant without the orb, because it was cheaper to do that and then buy the Warlord's Exalted Orb to give the Warlord's influence on it. So this is the base I'll be crafting on with an item level of above 80. 81 in this case. It's not the best, but it will do what I want it to do. Then I purchased a Redeemer helmet with the modifier skill supported by Unleash have +1 to maximum number of seals, and made sure that none of the other modifiers have a modifier that comes from the Redeemer pool. So that's basically the base I'll be using on. So this one will be Woked Orb into this one that I will be alteration crafting for the maximum power charge, when that's the plan we're going to go for. So if you then look at the Warlord, we can see that this one has a weight of 125, which is absolutely terrible. So you could look into buying one with this modifier if you want to, which might have been cheaper, and then alteration crafting the Unleash, because you're looking at the Unleash as 250. Either way, it's going to be a rather annoying craft, but once the helmet is done, it will be worth quite a lot of currency. So obviously, just to double check if alterations will be the best way to hit this, you go into Craft of Exile, we choose to use a helmet, we have a Dexterity Intelligence, and the influence is a Warlord, and we're looking for a maximum power charge, and we see if we can achieve this cheaper with the use of fossils. Oh, just spamming metallic would cost me about 200 chaos to hit it, so we might actually do that, because that's very easy to do. We do have some metallic, we have some of the resonators. Obviously, we'll then check the average cost of alteration. So this would cost me 200 chaos. The alteration spam would be 1 in 400 alterations and only cost me 100 chaos. So, okay, fuck that. We are going to alteration and augment spam this one. And we know it is a prefix, so we're looking for the prefix name, the name up here, to be Warlords. And everything else we re-roll and like this. Now it says Warlords, but in this case we have elemental damage, but we don't want that. Every time I augment is if the suffix roll is not a Warlord. So in this case I got a Warlord, so we're going to re-roll it. This one has Conquest, which is not what we want either, which is the Warlord's suffix name. So we're just going to keep doing this. So we're looking for a helmet that is Warlords of not Conquest. Alchemy, no, because then I risk having multiple Warlords mode. There we go. Alright, so we did just end slightly above the average of the alterations to craft this, but good thing is, no Conquest roll on the suffix, so this helmet is now prepared for us. We have a Awakener Orb ready, and we'll just go take this helmet, and just to double check things, Redeemer modifier, skill supported by Unleash, have maximum number of seals. Next one is Unworldly, Abbots, Flatworm, Walrus, and Corundum Skin. So now we know that the Awakener will take the Redeemer influence and that specific modifier. And we're going to smack that onto this one to keep the 81 base, which is not the best, but we get the Blade Vortex enchant, and we look at the modifiers. It's a Warlords that we want, and then it's Elemental Lightning Resistance of the Storm. So we're going to smack this one on top of this one, and then we pray that the result is good enough. And hopefully we got some extra crit multi, because they will be very juicy. Hopefully we'll see some life roll. The problem with Woke Orbing in the current state of crafting is that at this point I can only woke it, which I just did, and then pray that I get something juicy. We actually did get crit multi, but as you can see here is a little bit of a problem with this. There is no room for extra life on this. So this is actually really nice. It's a tier 2, decent, well, mid-roll crit multi. So that in itself is very, very good. There's open suffixes for crafts, but the problem with this is I can do a remove prefix, add suffix, but then I'd only have 33% chance to hit the correct one, and then there's 66% chance to completely brick it. So what I have to do in terms of pricing this is that I have to look for the Unleash, the Power Charge, and the crit, and then see what that can sell for, and then double check if any of those items have a Lifecraft or an open prefix. So the 17 Exalted one up here has an incorrect or a worse enchant than what I'm using. It does have a fist damage taken as fire, which is a bit whatever at this point. And then you can see that if there's a life roll, it's worth about twice as much. This one has a crit multi-roll, Power Charge, life. So this one would be really good. The good thing here is that it seems like a lot of these helmets wants to have the aspect of the spider. There is room for aspect of the spider on our current helmet. Even if there's no life on it, there's still room for aspect of the spider, as well as another resistance roll. So with that in mind, I would argue for it to be worth quite a lot. So if you compare that with this helmet, who has lower crit multi than what we have, similar prefixes, but this one doesn't really matter, but similar prefixes, open suffix for a resistance craft, as well as an open suffix to craft aspect of the spider. So in this case, we could look into the fact that do we have the availability to put spider ourselves on it to make it more attractive? We do not. And I don't have the layer for it either. So with that in mind, I'm just going to put a simple resistance craft on it. Let's just take one of these, for example. We can actually make it look pretty good like that. And then we now know that this one had a crit multi with a resistance roll, which we're not going to include. So what happens if we then look at this type of helmet without the critical strike multiplier, which is what I would like to check. And then we look at the market, we can see this one doesn't have life, and without the crit multi, it's barely worth bothering. So we could have ended up with something terrible like this, and if that were to happen, I would most likely be treating it with an annulment orb, to be fair, or the bestiary craft. Again, actually, this doesn't have the enchant. There we go. Go to trade with this, my bad. So again, we're looking at these. So it's about 7x, thanks to the enchant is bumping it up quite a lot. But no life. This one doesn't even have room for the aspect of the spider. 8 exalted. So, I mean, it's still profit at this point, at least for us. We bought the Awakener Orb for like 200 chaos. We bought the Warlord's Slam for about 100, so that's 300 chaos. And we bought the helmet for a bit under 100, so let's say 100. So that's 400 chaos. We bought the other helmet for 20C. So let's say about 400 chaos in total, plus the alterations was about 100C, so that's 500 chaos. And I think the market price right now on Chaos X is about 62. So I think the average craft cost of what we're looking for is about 8 Exalteds, is what we crafted it for, approximately. But since we do have the critical strike multiplier, and we look at this market with the correct enchant, with a life roll it's 30x. Now we know that with the incorrect enchant, we found this for 17x. So in my specific case, I believe that we could price it either at the same price as this guy or a little bit above, because our crit multi is better. But it's a bit hard to decide. I think around this price would be able to sell it quite efficiently, and I'll at least double my investment. Then again, I think that this market has so many results in it that it might not be the best choice to do for profit crafting, in my personal opinion. You would need to get a proper enchant, like in this case for Blade Vortex, Duration would be the better choice over crit multi for a lot of reasons for that specific build. So I think in that sense it would be better. But I mean, it's still profits, and if you want to craft something like this for use, this is how you do it. But yeah, that's all I have to say. So if you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Until next time, boys, stay safe. Keep rocking.